Welcome to wild, wonderful West Virginia. The business at large in West Virginia is blowing the tops off of the mountains to supply all the rest of this great nation with energy. We have to start recognizing what's going on with climate change, and West Virginia and coal and mountaintop removal is ground zero for the entire problem. The majority of our energy in this country comes from coal and coal-fired power plants. There's about 3 million pounds of explosives that go off every day, blowing mountains to bits and pushing toxic refuge into the valley, which is the headwaters of all the water that goes from there to the Gulf of Mexico. This is $1 billion game. You know, this is to these players who look at it as a game. I'm running for governor to bring the issue of mountaintop removal, not just to the people of West Virginia, but to the nation. Been on the road all of 2008, pretty much. And it's been a real challenge because you're having to live out of a four-wheeled rolling briefcase. And which also sometimes is your nap mobile, and you know, when you're doing it all on a shoestring and you're working with all volunteer staff, it's humbling if nothing else.
Tonight we'll be going directly from here to protest at the Clays Arts Center, where they're having a private invitation-only debate and broadcasting it as the commercial governor's debate in West Virginia.
This debate is supposed to be newsworthy. This is a private news event. What does that mean? And it's being sold as if that this is their First Amendment right. Them, a private club, a perhaps corporation, if you will, that their First Amendment rights trump mine, a citizen who is duly nominated by a balloted party to run for public office. Their rights are greater than mine?
What do you think about Jesse not being included in this debate?
I can't say anything. I've got to be fair and impartial.
So is it fair or impartial that he's not in this debate if he's actually on the ballot?
I just want to talk to him about what he thinks about it.
Are you being interviewed?
I just want to see what he thinks about not being there. I think I know what he said. He's going to say that.
The Jesse's on every single ballot in the state, in every county, you know, and that shows that there's enough support behind him for him to be a valid candidate, and them leaving out of it is undemocratic, and just the board of the Broadcasters Association making the decision to do that when there's so much support is the privatization of our democratic principles. So, and that's scary.
Always good to see the First Amendment in action.
What they say to you?
Oh, they just want to tell me.
There's 4 debates that the governor's doing. I'm in all 3 except this one. And the reason I'm not in this one is because this one gets to the majority of the people. The majority of the people of West Virginia have been polled to be against mountaintop removal. It's a big business.
Yeah, coal still rules this. I mean,
But I have a pro-coal plan. It just doesn't include mountaintop removal.
We're owned by businesses.
Dan, both candidates remained civil to each other during the hour-long debate, and supporters on both sides felt their candidate did well.
And by a flip of the coin, Mr. Weeks gets the first.
The Democratic and Republican Party candidates for governor squared off for the first time during a debate at the Clay Center.
But he did watch the 2 candidates. Johnson was not allowed into the invitation-only event at the Clay Center. He actually watched the debate from our live truck. The debate was sponsored by the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and the group's policy is to invite only the 2 major party candidates.
I'm on the ballot in all 55 counties in West Virginia, and the electoral process is not supposed to be, decided by funding or monies, and that's why when I'm governor, in this state, we will pass public financing for elections.
Good. Good to go.
Tested leader we can count on, Senator Jay Rockefeller.
What gives us electricity, which makes the country run and turns the lights on every day is coal.
You know, Rockefeller,
Jay Rockefeller passed the law to save coal miner
to
health
get
care.
elected
Almost
governor
$1 billion
originally,
to clean
he
up
said
abandoned
he
mines.
was
And to
against
lower
mountaintop
energy
removal
rates,
and
he
would
supports
always
more
be
domestic
against
drilling
mountaintop
and is
removal.
leading the fight for clean coal technology.
How are you? Nice to meet you. Who are you with, honey?
How are you feeling about this election?
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
so I understand that you had an opportunity to have a debate earlier this week.
We had, what day was that?
It was Monday.
Monday, yes we did.
But only two of the candidates were there, you and...
Yeah, well, you know what? We weren't in charge of the debate.
Really?
Yeah, we sure wanted everybody to be there. We sure tried.
The vast majority of those polled in the state of West Virginia are against mountaintop removal. We have the ability, whether it be Democrat, whether it be Republican, Independent, Constitution Party, Libertarians, Greens, Mountain Party members, we have the ability to band together as West Virginians. And if you vote for your values, voting your conscience, then you have an opportunity for real change.
I think Jesse is a stand-up guy, and I tell you what, that's like trying to take on the world when you're trying to take on mountaintop removal and coal mining in West Virginia.
True debate. Balloted candidates. Will be live statewide on West Virginia Public Broadcasting. On October 19th.
Well, Mr. Johnson, we've heard a lot about your beliefs, but I'm kind of wondering, could you name 3 people that you would appoint to cabinet if you were to actually be elected governor, and why you'd pick some of those people?
Well, I believe I probably could name 3 people, but if I'm not...
Well, first of all, they asked me to name who I would appoint as my cabinet, which is against the law in West Virginia, so I chose not to do that, of course, and informed him as such. And secondly, then he wanted to know if I could name any cabinet post. Little like, do you know what the state bird is?
The state of West Virginia, there's only one party that's actually growing in size, and that's the Mountain Party. So in order to preserve the party in the state of West Virginia, you have to run a candidate for statewide office, and particularly for governor, every 4 years, and have to maintain a certain percentage to maintain ballot access. And ballot access is the key to transparency as far as the electoral process across the board, and inclusion, which is extremely important.
Mr. Johnson, you're saying people should vote to you to preserve the Mountain Party, or should they vote to you because you'd be the best person for governor?
No, well, no. Certainly they should vote for me because I'm going to return the government of West Virginia back to the people.
Thank you for your comments about mountaintop removal.
Thank you very much. We're a part of a great experiment in this country, and we have to be better stewards than we've been. We've been far too focused on short-term gain instead of long-term vision. To me, it's all about the journey and how much good you can affect as a person, for your family, your community, your state, your nation, your planet.